I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, and this is a story from the 60s when I was in high school. Now, my mother was a widow, and she had a lot of sayings she used with me. I was the oldest of 4 daughters. So I'm going to take a little poll now and see if things have changed for women. Raise your hand if your mother ever told you it's a man's world. Now see, I don't think mothers say that anymore, do they? Do they say that? It's a man's world? Well, here's another saying my mother used on me. And we'll try again with my poll here. It's just as easy to fall in love with a rich man as a poor man. See, a certain generation, I think, heard that. Well, do you think times have changed? Yes and no. I'm not quite sure about that. But of course, my mom was a widow raising 4 daughters, and she wanted the best life she could come up with for us. So we listened to this saying on and on and on. And really, I didn't notice so much about trying to fall in love with a rich man until I got to high school and I began to go to dances. Now, when I went to dances, we all wore formals. You remember those formals we would wear to these dances? And you could see the difference then between the girls who had money and the girls who did not. So I went to Mercy High School, and I was leaving childhood behind in kind of fits and starts. I had lots of first cousins who went to school with me. We had this big family where we could borrow formals, so we didn't have to go out and buy them all the time, but there would always be a cousin who could lend you a formal. And going to dances was a big event for us. We read 17 magazine. There were these beautiful girls in 17 magazine, the Breck girl with beautiful hair. And we tried our best to model ourselves after these girls. We knew it wasn't enough anymore to get all A's. There was another competition going on. You know what I'm talking about? You might be able to be on the A team of girls who really would marry a rich man. You might. If you could do all these things you needed to do to be popular. Of course, the nuns were very enthusiastic in advising us, to keep our virginity. We might try to look like the girls in 17 magazine, but those girls could be doing all kinds of things in those formals they wore in 17 magazine. And our formals always had to have a strap that went around the back of your neck. No strapless formals. And so we got a lot of messages on how to be popular, cute, desirable, but still a virgin teenage girl. So that when you met that rich man, the right rich man, you would be totally desirable and unspoiled. Well, I'll tell you, the day came when we girls at Mercy High got to invite boys to a dance. And we were looking forward to this very much. And my cousin Maureen and I each invited a boy. And did you ever have boys that were training wheel boys? Those boys were not your Prince Charmings. You didn't think they were going to be the rich man you were going to marry, but you were just getting started. And so you might ask the brother of one of your friends, and he might be your same age, not even 1 year older, but the same age. Or you might even ask a boy you went to elementary school with. Training wheel boys, you could count on them. They would take you out and show you off, but nothing else. So the day was approaching when we were going to actually go to the dance, and we were complaining that we were once again going to wear these borrowed formals. Do you remember those days of the formals being made of net? And if they got up under your arm, they would almost cut you with that net. They were really, really uncomfortable. We didn't like them. We wished we could get this year's model, but neither one of us really thought we could do that. We were trying to borrow from all our cousins. And my cousin Maureen got a beautiful formal that I really liked. White ruffles, a very, very beautiful formal. But it was the week before, and I still hadn't come up with a good formal to wear. So every evening, of course, my mom would come home from work. She had gotten a job at the Tip Top Cleaners down the street. We didn't have a car, so she could walk 3 blocks and go to work. This work had its ups and its downs. The downside was she would come home and say, "I'm tired of wearing rubber gloves all day." Why would a woman who worked at a cleaners have to wear rubber gloves all day? Because they have to reach into the pockets of men's pants and empty them. But she never thought about that. That was the downside of the job. The upside of the job was this. She got to see beautiful clothes. And she'd come home and I'd sit there with my sisters and she would describe beautiful clothes as our entertainment. We'd listen. And this particular week, which was the week before the prom, remember I still didn't have the formal, she came home and she said, "Oh, if you could see the dress that came in today, you wouldn't believe it. It's a Charles James original." Now you go home now tonight and you Google Charles James. He was one little level below Christian Dior. This was a truly beautiful, exquisite dress. Cap sleeves, scarlet silk chiffon, real crystal beading, diagonal tucking, and the skirt was so full, she said they worked a whole day just cleaning the skirt. This was a gorgeous dress. Who did it belong to? Her friend, Rosemary Daly, who had married well. If you married well, you might have nanny for your kids. A woman come in, scrub your floor every week. You wouldn't have to do that. You could take a vacation every year to Colorado. Every year. Something my mother never had any of, but Rosemary not only had married well, but she was a society gal and she got her picture in the society page of the newspaper. Do you have that up here? Like if you go someplace and you get your picture taken, best gown, yes? Well, Rosemary often got her picture in the newspaper in these beautiful gowns. This gown in particular, of course, she never bought her clothes in Omaha. There were no stores good enough in Omaha for a society gal to buy her clothes. She went to Marshall Fields in Chicago and bought everything she wore. I see you shaking your head. Beautiful clothes. Now, Rosemary had 2 boys about my age. They went to Creighton Prep, a boys' school. And Rosemary brought in this dress, and sure enough, my cousin and I are sitting there listening to this description of this beautiful dress, and I was thinking how I still didn't have a dress. And there was this dress hanging in the hangers. And all I would have to do would be trick my mom just a little bit, just distract her enough that I could take it, drop it in a bag, and use it, borrow it for one day, and take it back. No one would be the wiser. I could finally have a really beautiful dress to wear to the prom. So my cousin and I planned it. We planned what we would do. We'd go down there to the cleaners, go in, locate the dress, My cousin would ask, where's the bathroom? My mom would take her to the back of the store. While she was there, I would unhook the dress, drop it in a big shopping bag I had under my coat, and walk out the door with it. She'd never know it was gone. I mean, no harm done, right? And not only that, we were responsible borrowers. I went out and I bought one of those harness things that puts pads up under your armpits. Do you all remember that? So that now one drop of sweat would get in, because no matter how much deodorant you use, you can get excited, you know. So you had to have something under your arm to protect a dress like that, which my mother had told me cost Rosemary $800. Marshall Fields in Chicago, don't go there. So, we also told our dates we wanted wrist corsages. Why? I'm not going to put a pin in my silk chiffon borrowed dress. So I'm telling you, we were responsible borrowers. Well, I walked in. Maureen asked to be shown the bathroom. My mother turned her back, went way to the back of the store. I reached up, put out the shopping bag, dropped the dress in. We walked out the door. She never knew. And the minute we got outside, we broke into hysterical laughing because there's nothing so much fun as getting away with stealing something. Really, really fun to be able to walk out with that. It all worked out just like we thought it would. Walked over to Maureen's house to dress. We were ready for the prom. And I have to say, when I got that dress on, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was all filled out by that time, 16 years old. I hate to have to say it on myself, but I was a knockout.